Germany's recovery through technology is often described as methodical, predictable, almost dull. But here's what nobody tells you. Germany didn't turn to technology because it wanted to innovate. It turned to technology because it was running out of room to survive as it was. This is where the pattern begins, not with ambition, but with constraint. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Germany was being called the sick man of Europe. Unemployment hovered near 11%. Growth lagged behind peers. Reunification had created structural imbalances that never fully healed. For anyone today watching industrial economies struggle with productivity slowdowns, labor stress, and global competition, the parallels are direct. The question Germany faced was blunt. What happens when efficiency alone stops being enough? The post-reunification boom faded quickly. Eastern Germany required massive transfers. Legacy industries carried high labor costs. Globalization accelerated competition from lower-cost producers. At first, it looked like cyclical weakness. Then the bill arrived. Exports slowed. Public finances tightened. Confidence wavered. Everyone thought Germany's industrial model would eventually reassert itself. It didn't, at least not in its old form. Here's the mechanism most people miss. Germany didn't abandon industry. It upgraded it from the inside out. Instead of chasing entirely new sectors, it asked a different question. How do you make existing strengths impossible to replace? Not disruption. Reinforcement, not exit. Deepening. Let me show you exactly how this worked. German firms, especially the Mittelstand, thousands of mid-sized manufacturers began investing heavily in automation, precision robotics, and digital control systems long before the term Industry 4.0 became fashionable. These weren't flashy consumer technologies. They were production technologies designed to reduce error, compress margins, and raise quality thresholds beyond what low-cost competitors could match. At first, it looked incremental. Then the compounding began. Labor market reforms in the early 2000s reduced rigidity, but technology did the heavier lift. Machines absorbed repetitive tasks. Workers were retrained to manage systems rather than perform them. Productivity rose without mass layoffs. Not replacement. Augmentation. This mattered culturally. Germany avoided the social fractures seen elsewhere because technology was framed as preservation, not threat. Here's why this matters. Many economies respond to recession by choosing between labor and capital. Germany chose alignment. Wages were restrained. Training expanded. Investment horizons lengthened. Firms accepted lower short-term returns in exchange for survival through cycles. This wasn't optimism. It was memory. Germany had lived through collapse before. It understood that short-term relief often creates long-term fragility. By the mid-2000s, Germany's export competitiveness returned. Not because wages fell dramatically, but because quality thresholds rose. German machinery, autos, and industrial equipment became embedded deep inside global supply chains. Replacing them became expensive and risky. This is the quiet power of industrial technology. It doesn't announce dominance. It enforces dependence. At first, it looked like recovery without excitement. Growth returned slowly. Employment improved gradually. Then the global financial crisis hit in 2008. Demand collapsed worldwide. Many expected Germany's export-heavy model to fail. It didn't. Short-time work programs preserved labor. Automated factories scaled output down and up with minimal friction. The danger wasn't collapse. It was exposure. And Germany had built buffers. The unresolved tension remained. Technology stabilized the system, but also tied it more tightly to global demand, energy flows, and geopolitical stability. Germany had survived recession by upgrading its engine. Whether that engine could endure a more fragmented world was the question hanging at the edge of its recovery. Germany's technology-driven recovery revealed a deeper truth. Here's what nobody tells you. Technology doesn't eliminate vulnerability. It reshapes it. This is where the pattern deepens, from resilience to dependence management. Germany emerged from recession stronger, but also more exposed to the systems it plugged into. Here's the mechanism. Industry 4.0 integrated sensors, data, and automation across factories, logistics, and suppliers. Efficiency increased. Waste dropped. Customization scaled. But integration meant interdependence. When global supply chains functioned smoothly, Germany thrived. When they fractured, pressure transmitted instantly. Not fragility. Sensitivity. At first, it looked like mastery. Exports surged through the 2010s. Employment remained high. Manufacturing stayed central to the economy when others had hollowed out. Then the bill arrived in new forms. Energy dependence became visible. Semiconductor bottlenecks exposed concentration risk. Demographic aging tightened labor markets further. The danger wasn't technological failure. It was assumption failure. Some economists argue that Germany's choice to digitize industry rather than pivot away from it preserved social stability and skill depth. Others suggest it delayed diversification and increased exposure to external shocks. One scenario indicates that high-value manufacturing remains defensible through technology. Another suggests that over-specialization limits adaptability when conditions change abruptly. History doesn't settle this. It frames the trade-off. Here's the trap. When technology works, it reinforces belief in the system that deployed it. Success hardens preferences. Change becomes harder precisely when it may be needed most. Germany's firms optimized relentlessly, but optimization can narrow optionality. Systems built for precision struggle with discontinuity. If this pattern applies elsewhere, the lesson isn't that technology guarantees recovery. It's that technology amplifies whatever strategy it is attached to. Germany used it to deepen industrial strength, preserve employment, and regain competitiveness. That choice delivered stability, but also locked in dependencies that now require careful management. Here's why this matters now. As more economies face recession, automation, and global fragmentation, Germany's path offers both guidance and caution. Upgrading systems can restore strength without social collapse. But every recovery strategy embeds assumptions about the future. When those assumptions shift, the same technology that stabilized growth can magnify stress. Germany used technology to recover from recession by choosing continuity over disruption, depth over breadth, and precision over speed. It worked within its context. The unanswered question is whether that model remains flexible enough for the next shock. Recovery is not the end of a cycle. It's the beginning of a new one. And every cycle carries forward the consequences of the choices made under pressure.